Floor goes to Ms. Stephanie Daus.
Very much. Dear chairs, dear colleagues, it is difficult to use the words normality with everything that is happening on at the border of our European Union. But at least regarding the pandemic, we can finally say that after 2 years, we are returning to some kind of normalcy. And in those 2 years, we have come a long way. We learned to embrace new technologies in our parliaments. And maybe first allow me to share one of my very early experiences with video calls. Like all of you, I often have courtesy meetings with ambassadors. But when I became president of the Senate, it was very impossible to meet face to face. So we had to use video call. And my very first meeting with such an ambassador was, I have to say, a complete disaster. The connection was constantly interrupted. And to be frank, I had no idea, but actually no idea what the ambassador was saying. So I just kept nodding. The ambassador could have said things I totally disagreed with. We could have declared a war, and I wouldn't even have noticed. And of course, and luckily, this was an isolated incident, and today we no longer have these issues. But of course, it remains an example of the limitations of technology we all have, and there are a lot of those. But I would like to address one of the biggest limitations of technologies that are here today, and they're a lot less easy to fix than a mere unstable internet connection. And I am talking about fake news. I'm talking about disinformation. I'm talking about lies on the internet and through the social media. And these falsehoods, they have the potential to destroy democracies. We have seen it during the pandemic when the anti-vaxxers created doubt about the life-changing vaccines and threatened our public health. And we see it today in its most extreme form in Russia. Once on track to become a democracy, we have to accept the facts that the Russian Federation has become an autocracy where one man can decide to start a war based on lies and based on fabrication. And Vladimir Putin uses traditional media and social media to push a false narrative to justify his illegal war in Ukraine. And his minions are massively spamming platforms like Twitter, like Facebook, to bury the truth under their misleading noise. And we cannot be blind for the risk this poses on our democracies, because Putin's war is more than a war against Ukraine. It is a war against democracy. It is a war against freedom. It is a war against all the values where Europe stands for. So our democracies, they have to be reinforced. And after the Second World War, we built defensive democracies, democratic systems equipped to handle the attack of those trying to destroy them. But the world has changed. The threats of fake news and disinformation could not have been foreseen almost a century ago. And therefore, it is our responsibility as President of Parliament and the first line of defense against autocracy to fix this. In my Parliament, we have written and voted on a report with very concrete steps to push back the fight against fake news. And I invite you all to read it. I invite you all to learn from it, to work together and to learn from each other. The vicious use of new technologies is a global threat, and we should address it globally as well. I would like to thank our Slovenian chairs and hosts for convening this meeting. International coordination is the way ahead. I look forward to hear from you during this conference, and I thank you all. I thank you all for your attention.
Zahvaljujem